Hi everybody, welcome back to Narcshield. My name is Jennifer and I wanted to do a bunch of videos today, or I'm going to try to, and get them posted for you guys. I wanted to finish out the Chris Watts stuff, and I also wanted to thank all of my subscribers. I'd like to thank those who have been liking my videos and have even commented. I really do appreciate seeing your comments, and I hope that you will continue to comment. And I like seeing my commenters talk amongst each other as well, even if they don't always agree. I think it's interesting to see the way people see things. And so thank you so much for commenting and subscribing and liking my videos. And even if you don't like them, I appreciate you being here. And if you don't like them, I know like somebody was like, she didn't like one of my videos and she was telling me why in the comments, and because she just had a different perception about something. And I really appreciated it because I didn't completely disagree. I don't always disagree with everything, somebody says. I can look and maybe see something that they may have seen as well. So I do appreciate when people comment regardless. As long as people are respectful, I'm fine with that. Unfortunately, if somebody's very disrespectful and mean, then I might have to block that person. So, but if you're here and you are commenting, liking, subscribing, I really do appreciate it. And I just want you to know how much that means to me. I don't think I say that enough, but it really means a lot to me. It's a lot of work doing the videos, and I don't do this full time, obviously. I wish that I could and be able to spend more time doing a lot of the fun things with it that I would like to do, and maybe in time I will be able to do that. I try to think of different ways to do the channel as well, but I have been busy with my grandson. I've had some personal things going on. I've also been trying to catch up with my family again and some of my friends. But, and of course I work as well. But the channel is important to me, and bringing awareness is important, and sharing about abuse is important. It really is, because I have people that sit in my chair or stop me sometimes and talk to me, and they say how much it helps them. And I don't always think about that when I'm not doing it. I'm thinking, I know how it helps me when I watch other people, their videos and things like that. And I just haven't really thought about it as much with me, but I do appreciate it. And I'm glad if I can do something to help in some way. And bringing awareness is really important. So I think all of us sharing and giving this information out is really important, because we can help make a change. And because it takes a long time to get things on the roll and get people understanding sometimes. I mean, look at how long it took with domestic violence, and still we work on that. All of the things that people bring awareness about, some of them, it takes a while for people to understand. And narcissistic abuse is not easy to understand. It is very confusing. It's confusing for the person who's in it. It's really confusing for the people who don't get it at all and may not have been abused or recognize that they have been abused or been played with as a toy from a narcissist before. And so bringing awareness is going to help. I really want to help children and the kids that are in schools to be able, because this helps. I'm losing my words here. They're being bullied online. Things have changed since back in the day. And I know what it was like when I was bullied, and it was hard. I can't even imagine today. I cannot, because it was so hard for me back when I was bullied. And I don't know if I've told those stories. I may have. I mean, sometimes I'm like, well, did I ever tell that story? When I was little, I had people, I had girls tie me to a tree before and like call me names and beat me, and they would chase me, and they were older than me, and then they would tie me to a tree. I might have told that before, I don't know. And I've had all kinds of abuse. I had girls when I was in the 8th grade. They were jealous for whatever reason, and I wasn't even trying to be with their boyfriends or whatever, but for whatever reason, they were jealous of me, and they would not allow me onto school grounds. And so I would be threatened to be beaten up if I even stepped onto school grounds, which would also get me in trouble and have me late for school. But I was afraid, and I had to walk to school at the time, and I was bullied in the locker room when it was time to get dressed out for PE. I was bullied in the bathrooms. These people really sought me out. They would go to the places that I would go to with my friends and bully me there. And eventually, you know, you end up taking up for yourself. But, you know, and then I got in trouble. And I do eventually take up for myself. So, but I think about the kids today online. And so we really need to come together and bring this awareness or recognize it even, and know that it is abuse, and be able to learn how we can talk to our children or other people who are victims of abuse. And many times the people that are being victimized, they are pointed at as the perpetrator, and the perpetrator is claiming to be the victim. We see this a lot. I mean, if you just, you know, I know when I'm watching a TV show or something, I'll see it, and I think to myself, wow, this is a common theme in these television shows that draw people in, and people are really into it. But what I'm watching most of the time is a narcissistic type person and abuse happening, and I get that, you know, it brings a lot of drama and chaos and things like that. But it amazes me that when someone tries to talk to it on a normal level outside of theater or the movies or a TV show or something like that, they can't resonate with it. They can't resonate with the fact that that can really happen in real life. It does, and that's how these stories come about. That's how people come up with the storylines, and it happens more than people realize. And it's not easy to get out of it if you've been in something that's really abusive for a really long time. And there's different types of abuse that you can have. But I don't want to just bring awareness just for the children, but the children are innocent. And I think it's really important for us adults to be there and help guide them through and believe them when they come to us and tell us things. Or when we recognize that that the way they act has changed all of a sudden. And it's like, why are they acting out all of a sudden? Or why are they isolating themselves all of a sudden? Why is this happening? You know, when you recognize something like that, something is going on, and we need to pay attention to that and not ignore it. And sometimes people tend to ignore those things, and these things can get bigger and bigger and bigger, and people can actually commit suicide. And with COVID-19 and people being isolated even more, and some being trapped with their victims, we are seeing more and more suicide and depression. So, and domestic violence, of course, was up 100% during all of this. So it's important for us to be aware and also bring awareness. So I appreciate you coming to my channel, also going to anybody else's channel and helping spread that awareness. And so I want to talk about a few things today. Some things may be personal that I'm going to do, but this one I wanted to finish out with the Chris Watts case. I did post, I think 5 videos on Chris Watts, and it was a perfect example of someone who had narcissistic traits, highly narcissistic traits. And again, I cannot diagnose anyone, but it was apparent that Chris Watts had highly narcissistic traits, as well as Nicole Kessinger. And Shanann, his wife, may have had narcissistic traits. However, she was an empathic person who was the do-gooder. She was the doer. She was the one who wanted to make everyone happy. She was the one, I think she, had some control stuff. She obviously had some OCD, and she was very organized, to say the least. But she, sometimes you're trying to find control in any way that you can, and that may have been the only way she felt like she could control. I am not a therapist, so I cannot diagnose any of these people, but we can see traits, and she was definitely the giver in all of this, and she and her children were victims of not only domestic violence and abuse, but mental and emotional abuse. It was horrible what happened to her. So I know there are people that talk bad about Shanann, but this is not the time to be. No, she was a victim, and so were those children, and she had an unborn child as well who passed away or was killed. They were all killed by Chris Watts. And so if you've watched all of those videos, then you hopefully were able to see the narcissistic traits and how he was devaluing his wife. And now this Nicole Kessinger was in the love bombing stage, or the golden period, or the idealization phase, whatever you want to call it. She was in that stage. Now he's in prison. He did not want Nicole Kessinger to, at the time, I don't know about now, but at the time he wasn't wanting her to be involved at all. Of course, Nicole Kessinger was going and being interviewed herself, and I think she as well was trying to make herself look good in all of this, and she wasn't consistent in the things that she said. And I think I talked about that in one of the videos, and she was trying to act like an innocent party in this, and she wasn't. She knew he was married. She knew he had children. She eventually found out that she was pregnant with another child, and not that far along. I mean, they still had a ways to go for that child to be born. So they were obviously still having sex. She knew that they were still living together. She knew that he had gone to North Carolina to be with her and her family. She says that she sent him there to try to make his marriage work, but that's not really what she wanted, because I said in one of the videos how she was looking up wedding dresses and that kind of thing, and she was sending him all kinds of texts while he was there. No, if you wanted him to work his marriage out and you felt like you were a victim in all of this, then you would have dropped completely out altogether and been like, go and work out your marriage. And not text, called, looked up for wedding dresses, and been planning things for down the road. She would have literally been out of the picture altogether and given that marriage a chance, and seen him for what, I mean, if he's going to do that, if a man or a woman is going to cheat while they're married and while he was trying to say they were separated. They were not. She did. This was a new that he was planning on getting separated and being with Nicole Kessinger, in the moment, but unbeknownst to his wife. So when she realized that they had marital problems, by the time she realized they had some serious marital problems, I mean, he was on the way out the door because he already had somebody in line to be with. And he was all infatuated with Nicole Kessinger. So people have asked, did he do this alone? Was Nicole Kessinger part of this? She is in the witness protection program now. Who knows? Who really knows? But what I do know is that she did not want him to be with Shanann. She wanted him. And she was using, her sexual prowess. She was saying certain things to him to let him know that she wanted to be number one. She wanted to be, she was setting the stage for it to just be her. Now, whether she wanted them dead or not, I cannot say that. And I don't think any of us really can 100% say that. And maybe not even 100% say whether she was there or not. I mean, there are some signs that maybe she was, but I don't know. I don't know. But what I do know is Chris Watts had a narcissistic type relationship, a very toxic relationship with these girls. They were being women, they were being triangulated. He devalued his wife, and he also discarded her by murdering her and murdering the children, and didn't think anything of it when he did it, and went right on, you know, calling the girlfriend right after and acting normal and wanting to be, and have, you know, as if he didn't just kill some people that he loved. Because he didn't. They were objects that were in the way for him. And that is, I definitely think that he had antisocial personality disorder along with narcissistic personality disorder, but honestly, I cannot diagnose him, but he definitely had narcissistic traits, and that's what this channel talks about. So, not all narcissists are murderers. Not all narcissists are people that will beat you. There are different types of narcissist. This guy had some other stuff going on with him, but this is how it looks when you are in a toxic relationship with someone and they decide that you are no longer working properly for them and they have found someone else that does, and you are easily replaceable, and they decide that this person is going to be the one that they're going to be with now. And the thing is eventually that person will be devalued and discarded. They don't think they will. They feel like they're the one too that is going to be the savior. I'm sure Shanann was like, you know, she said some real, we all do that, protect that narcissist, even when they do things that are like, ugh, you know, we still want to give them the kudos and tell them how great they are and all of this. But because she had said some things, you know, where I was like, yeah, okay. She said some things that I think she kind of knew he was selfish. But apparently he was really good with the kids too. So, but maybe that's because it was working for him. And when he was around certain people, or, you know, or he loved the narcissistic supply that the children gave him. But when they became a wedge to the life that now he wants to go over to, he saw them as objects and in the way. So he had to get rid of them too. And he certainly couldn't have them tell on him. And so it was just going to be easier if he could move on. I don't know how he thought that was all going to play out and work out for him, but I don't think he really planned it out. They say that he did. He says that, you know, he knew for a while, and maybe he did for a little, but I'm just like, well, I know they live in the moment, but it's like, how did you exactly think that was going to pan out when you got, of course they were going to talk to you and question you. You're the husband. And of course they were going to catch you having an affair. So, you know, either he's just not very smart, or he just didn't care, or I don't know. That part, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss there, just like anybody else. But he could have gotten a divorce. He didn't have to kill his family. But you know what? He was probably like, it'll be easier for me this way. I don't want to pay child support. I don't want to have to deal with visitation time. I want to be with Nicole in the moment. That's where we're at. I want this. And I am like a kid in the candy store, and I want it now, and forget logic. This is what I want, and this is what I'm going to do now to get it. And that's what he did. So, you know, none of that stuff makes sense to a normal person. And even to him, I'm sure he even is like, you know, I don't know why I did that. Well, he wanted something in the moment, and that's why he did it. And hopefully he's getting lots of psychological evaluations while he's in prison, and hopefully stays there for the rest of his life. He's lucky that his life was spared and he wasn't given the death penalty. The death penalty. I can't even speak. But it was that was narcissistic what he did. That was a very, very highly narcissistic thing that he did, and it was very abusive on all levels and hurt so many people. And You know, a person like that, I'm wondering if he's sitting around thinking about how much it hurt him, or if he's thinking about how it really hurt other people, you know, his family, her family, friends. I'm sure his friends are sitting around feeling duped as well. These people are great actors. I mean, in the moment when they're with you, and if that's what they want in the moment, I mean, it seems genuine because in the moment, that's what they want. They want you around them. They want to have fun with you. That's what they're wanting in the moment. But when they don't want you anymore, they're gone. And that's what you have to look at. And it's hard. It's hard. I have a hard time. There are people in my life, I'm like, you don't want people, you don't want to go, oh, well, they're narcissistic. You don't want to label everybody narcissistic. However, it's on the rise, and they call it a pandemic now. And they say that we are raising narcissistic people more and more, and that it's even considered somewhat of a pandemic. So we do need to look at that. And we all have narcissistic traits, some high, some low. You know, do you have empathy? Are you able to self-reflect and say, it probably wasn't nice of me that I did that, and I did hurt other people, and this is what I caused this, and what can I do to be better, and you know, what can I learn from this so that I never hurt somebody again? And the narcissistic people, if they're truly narcissists, don't do that. They just walk away. They don't give a crap enough to look at themselves. They don't want to look at themselves. They're like, you know, they see it as, you know what, you're expendable. See you later. You didn't do what I wanted. You didn't say what I wanted. You didn't act the way I wanted. You didn't give me what I wanted, whatever it is. And they create a storyline that works for them, and they become the victim in their eyes. They can't see that they caused a lot of destruction. There are few people that might be able to recognize that they have repeated patterns, and they might try to change that, and then the patterns continue to repeat. You know, if you want to change, you will. You'll do whatever you have to change. But it's hard when you want to reason with someone. You want to work out something with someone. And Shanann tried to do this with her husband. But it's like, you don't want things to be bad. You can see a different way of doing it, but they can't. They are protecting themselves and what they want and need. It's not about what we want or need, or whoever, you know. It's all about them and what they want in the moment. And they do tend to use the excuse that they are the victim, and then they think that's okay. It gives them a pass for doing certain things. Like, you know, I've heard different things for Chris Watts. I've even heard other people make excuses, and I'm like, and they try to say some bad things about Shanann because she was very organized, and I guess she liked everything a certain way. And so they saw that as really controlling, and that can be controlling, but that's not okay to murder. That's not okay to murder children, an unborn baby, and her. That's not an excuse. So that's deflection. That's, hey, let's now think about what, oh, well, she was this, or she, you know, let's take the focus off of Chris Watts and put it on to Shanann. No, don't do that. It's back to Chris Watts. He killed them, and there's no excuse for murdering someone unless somebody has broken your house and they are attacking you, and you are gonna die and you have no choice but to kill you, or you're at war or something like that in the military, or you know what I mean? But to just go out and, oh, you know what? They're in my way. I don't want them in my life anymore. Boom, you're gone. Like, no, there's no excuse. I don't care if she was OCD. That has nothing to do with the fact he murdered his family. and then try to pretend like life is just normal and I'm going to go on about my life and, you know, I'm the victim here. No, that's, people get passes and then they continue the behavior. There are no passes. There are no passes. When we do things that aren't okay, we should recognize that and make a change. Narcissistic people won't do it. So this is all I'm going to say about the Chris Watts case, unless something else comes up and I decide to do another video. But it was a great example of narcissistic abuse. And also just there on the deflection and the blame shifting and how, you know, people, I noticed it with Chris Watts' mother. She was really villainizing Shanann afterwards. And I understand she loves her son, no matter what. I understand it's hard to wrap your head around that he may have done this, right? And so she needs an excuse to wrap her head around it because it's the only way that maybe she can cope with it. So I don't want to be, you know, mean, but it's because I can't even imagine, okay? But there is no excuse. There's no excuse. He's a murderer. He killed his family. And he did it because he was selfish. And he decided they weren't what he wanted anymore. And he wanted something shiny and new. And that's what he did. So anyway, until next time, see ya. Bye. I hope you'll like, share, and subscribe. Bye.